So 80% of everyone I work for usually ask me one thing, and that thing is, how did you get into photography? And so now I'm about to answer that question. If I'm being honest, it probably started when I was 9 months old. My parents adopted me from Russia, and they have this video of me and I'm like crawling after the camera. And I guess they should have known then that I was gonna do something in the future regarding cameras. But I always remember growing up and seeing commercials on TV. Like, I remember specifically an Ashton Kutcher commercial for Nikon, and I was like, man, I want a Nikon. And so I've always been interested in cameras and whatnot. But I remember for Christmases, I'd be asking my parents like, hey, get me a camera, get me a camera, get me a camera. And one Christmas they finally got me a little video camera thing, and then like each Christmas after that, like the cameras progressed as I got older. Next, I remember we were going to the beach, and it was the summer right before my senior year. And I went to my parents and I said, hey, can you get me a DSLR camera? I want a professional camera for my early graduation present. And they were like, oh, okay, that's fine, because we were going to the beach and I wanted to take some pictures and whatnot. And I remember being at the beach, and I would just go out for hours and hours at a time and just start taking pictures of like just birds and the sand and stuff. And I thought I was great. Like, I was like, dude, these are great. I'm the best. This is awesome. I loved it. And I remember one time my friends, they went out to go to the arcade, and I stayed at home so I could go outside and take more pictures. So after I got my camera and played around with it a little bit, it wasn't really in my mind to be professional in any way. It was really just kind of a fun thing to do, and I really liked it. But I remember sitting in my high school counselor's office, and she asked me, she was like, man, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go in life? And I was like, what? What are you talking about? Like, I don't know, you know? And that kind of scared me, and I was like, I don't know. And at the time, it was fun for me to go online and design t-shirts. And so that's what I did. I would design t-shirts, and I told her that. I was like, dude, I like to design stuff and do t-shirts and whatnot. And so she was like, so there's this program at the tech center called print production, and you can go and they do design stuff. And like, I had no clue what it was, but I was like, okay. And so I signed up, I did my little essay, and I got accepted. And little would I know, that would be the starting point for me going into photography full time. When I got into the print production class, I learned about Skills USA and how a couple students from the class would be asked to do that or would do that. And I was like, oh, that's cool, but you know, I'd never be able to do that because I just got my camera and I have no clue what I'm doing. And so I never really pursued anything in that, so I just kind of let that go. In the tech center, there was a bunch of different programs, and one of them was fashion. And at the end of their semester, they put on a fashion show, and a bunch of people come out. It's kind of like a big deal for the school. And so I remember the print production kids, they could come out and photograph the fashion show, and then they print them out for the fashion people. And so I kind of volunteered and I showed up for that, and that was really the start of me and my photography journey. I remember sitting there on the floor. Whoever took this picture, by the way, thank you. But I remember just sitting there on the floor, and I was just like so focused and so in the zone. And I remember just like, this was everything to me, and it was just some fashion show at a school, but I took that very seriously. And I guess my instructor saw something in me that I didn't quite see in myself yet, because the next day he pulls me aside and lets me know that one of the girls that was competing as a photography student in Skills USA couldn't compete anymore, and he asked me if I would like to compete in her place. And I was like, whoa, because you know, like 3 months ago I was thinking, wow, I couldn't do that, and now like I'm presented with this opportunity. And so like immediately I was like, yes, I want to do this. And I had no clue what I was stepping into at the time, but I remember just studying and being like mind blown by aperture and like how you could control the amount of light coming into the camera. And there was just so much that kind of piqued my interest and got me into it. And at the time I really had no clue what I was doing. And during this time is when I had my first photo shoot with the Davenports, and it was super cold and it was crazy, and they were amazing to work with. And I had no clue what I was doing at the time. It was my first photo shoot. I had like no clue. And what's cool is, you know, 2 years later, I went back and kind of redid their family photos, and it's just cool to see the time change, you know, to where I was and where I am now. It's back to Skills USA. So I'm studying for Skills USA, and I'm trying to get, you know, to the level of being able to compete, and I'm learning about Rembrandts and loop lighting and all this stuff, and I'm like, what's going on? And I had no clue, to be honest. I'm trying to learn all this stuff, and I probably didn't take it as serious as I should have, because I just didn't know at the time. But I remember at the competition, the guy who was running it, near the end of the day, he came out and just started talking about photography a little bit. And one of the things he said was that a lot of people will love photography, but they won't go anywhere with it just because they won't go out and do anything. And I remember thinking, well, that's stupid. Like, if you're gonna be good at something and put time into something, do something with it, you know? Like, why not? Then it's just a waste of time. And so I remember just thinking, man, I should do something with this. And I remember on the bus ride home, I didn't rank in the first top 3, and so I remember, like, on the bus ride home, my instructor was like, hey, are you okay? Like, is everything all right? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, it really didn't bother me that I didn't place in the top 3, because that wasn't really my goal. And then I realized, whoa, maybe that should have been my goal. Maybe I should be upset right now, you know? And so from that moment on, like, it was like a little moment on the bus ride home, but it kind of changed my perspective, and I said, man, I want to be the best I can be at this from now on. He really changed my life, from the point of taking photography from just something fun to do at the beach to saying, hey, I can do this for people and do this good and be better at it. And he was really probably my biggest inspiration when it came to getting into photography. And so I remember, after Skills USA, after that's all done, I would sit at home and I would just study photography. And I figured it up, and I spent about 230 hours in like 2 months just studying photography. And it wasn't boring to me. It was really fun, and I would just go out, and I remember having my brother drive his Ford Taurus in the rain so we could get a splash up so I could Photoshop the splash. And it was just crazy. I remember when I first started to really get into photography, I remember thinking, man, I just really want to blow people's minds. And so I think that's what I'm trying to do, is really just get out there and do new things. And yeah. So the end of my senior year, I graduated, and that night I spent the night in a hotel, and the next morning I moved down to Texas, and I was like, what the heck is going on? At first I bought a light kit, and I was like, okay, I have lights now. And from there I was able to do some product photos for this company called FAA Miniatures. And from that I was able to afford a new camera and new lenses, and everything just kind of happened. I remember once I got my light kit that I would just be taking pictures of my dog like nonstop, because that's really the only client I had. In 2014, my biggest client was Tucker McGee, and he was great, really great to work with. He didn't pay great, but he was great to work with. After that, I was like, man, I'm so frustrated. So I just went on Facebook and I just posted a bunch of links to my Facebook page saying, hey, if you need pictures, hit me up. And this one couple contacted me wanting engagement pictures, and I was just so shocked because I did it kind of out of frustration. I didn't think anyone would actually contact me. And then next thing I know, I'm on a shoot, my first engagement shoot, and I'm doing a shoot for them, and then the next week I have another shoot and then a shoot after that. And so I went from taking pictures of my dog all summer to taking pictures of actual people. As we were moving down, I remember telling my parents, man, I want to do an engagement shoot in Dallas. So the next thing you know, I meet Ronnie in January, and they contact me saying, hey, we need some engagement pictures. And I'm like, awesome. And then they're like, oh, we want to do it somewhere around Dallas. And I was like, me too. And so we got some shots done in Dallas, and it was great and it was amazing. And actually about a few weeks after this video is being recorded, we're headed to Jamaica to shoot their wedding, and it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be a party. We're going green 2016. And so I've had the pleasure to work with so many different people over the last couple years. I would have never thought that I would go from sitting on the floor taking pictures at a fashion show to sitting on some rocks in Kent Island taking pictures at a wedding. Like, it never crossed my mind that I would go places that I've been. You know, I've been to West Virginia to take pictures for a pizza place, and that was probably one of my favorite shoots. That was so fun. I've done everything from engagement shoots to weddings to senior photos and to pictures of artists. I've taken some great landscape shots in San Antonio and this awesome shot in Disney. And I've even gotten involved with the local newspaper, where I've done crazy amounts of shoots for them in a whole bunch of different areas. Remember that shoot I did back in January for DGI Creative? You know, the one with the billboard and everything? Well, at the end of June, I'll be moving back up to Pennsylvania to work for them full-time as a graphic designer. So, Pennsylvania, Maryland friends, watch out. I'll be heading up your way. And as far as photography, I'm just gonna keep going, keep growing, keep doing things that blow my mind and blow your mind. And I would just like to say thank you guys who have supported me through this and have just been there for me and have sent me messages on Facebook and Instagram. It's so cool seeing people wear shirts with my logo on it and just being there. And I mean, there's so many people that have come alongside of me and just encouraged me. And man, when I'm posting stuff, man, comment on it, leave comments, send me messages, because it means a lot to me to know what you guys are thinking. 3 years from now, I hope to be even farther than where I am today. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you know, I have no clue where I'm gonna be, but it's gonna be awesome. And so I just want to thank you guys for being there with me. It means a lot, and so thank you. And so I'll also be starting a new vlog on YouTube called Austinspiration, and it's pretty much where I do stuff like this, you know, where I tell people stories, and I'll be interviewing different business owners and people who have been married for a long time, and just different people that inspire me throughout my life. And so what I want to do is interview them and really just get their perspective on life and how they like got success in whatever they're doing, and really just put that out there just so it's a platform so people can see and come and look at these things. So yeah, I got a lot going on this upcoming year, and it's gonna be totally awesome, and I can't wait for you guys to see. Peace out and stay inspired.